Hi, my name's Mark Fridemos, and today we're going to dive deep into self-sabotage. So you may be asking yourself, do I self-sabotage? And the answer is probably yes. Now, I never thought I used to. I was quite naive to that. And what actually happened was a few years ago when I started coaching people, over 5 years ago now, I predominantly early on worked with weight loss clients coming from a personal training background. And what I noticed is that these clients would apply good nutrition, good lifestyle factors, pretty good exercise regime. And then some of these clients would start to get pretty good results. But then I would find that they would actually revert back to their old behaviors as soon as they started getting good results. And I was like, wow, what is actually going on here? I couldn't really work it out because I'm quite disciplined by nature. So if something's working for me, I can see it's working, I'll just stick to it. So what I actually had to do was go away and do some introspection. I even hired some people as well to help me and find out where I was sabotaging myself. And then when I worked that out, that was like a Pandora's box, mind you. And it was like, wow, I didn't realize how much I was sabotaging myself. And then I could go back and help other people. So what's happening from a weight loss perspective, or one thing that's happening, it can be many things, is people can overeat, and that can be a protection mechanism. The overeating, having additional calories to put on body fat so they can protect themselves. Now, why would that be playing out? Well, someone may protect themselves for any number of reasons, but it's essentially that they don't feel safe. Maybe they didn't feel safe growing up. Maybe they didn't feel safe expressing themselves growing up, or maybe there was physical or verbal abuse. Maybe they don't feel safe because they've had some bad relationship breakups, or they've been part of a violent history. There's many reasons people don't feel safe. So if they're not feeling safe, they overeat, then they just throw on that extra protection. Now, that's one example. Another example, I'll put myself on the fire. When I started looking at some sabotage behaviors of myself, there was such a pattern growing up when athletically I was doing really, really well. Bang, I'd just get shut down by an injury, and it almost always was my fault. That was one instance, and it actually still happens sometimes as well. The other thing I see, which is a little bit more subtle, which people won't recognize, is I actually do it in my business. So procrastination is a form of sabotage. So I'll give you an example. So if you're, fearing exposure, fear of being rejected, making that cold call, all those things are self-sabotage behavior. Self-sabotage behavior, in my definition, kind of off the cuff now, is thoughts and behavioral patterns that are sabotaging you really being your best self. And they're there for a reason. This sabotage happens because it's a pattern that's been learnt, and it's happened for a reason. So there's a part of the psyche called the ego, and one of the ego's jobs is to keep you really safe and into a really, safe spot. So an unhealthy ego doesn't really like change, and actually doesn't really like looking into itself too much either. A healthy ego is open to change, open to admitting that they were wrong and their behavior was wrong, even just for themselves, and is more open to change and growing and progressing. So you're working with the ego now when you're working with your self-sabotage, and it can be very challenging. So what do? So self-awareness is really the first step. That can really, really help. I personally also think hiring a therapist or a coach can really help, because you've got someone looking at you from different angles and they can kind of spot where you might be sabotaging yourself. So there's just a few tips. Hopefully that helps. Please let me know if you've got any questions, or feel free to reach out if you'd like any assistance with anything. Thank you.